Hey guys, Poro here with my 10th and final individual team breakdown for MSI, this time for FlyQuest, the LTA North representative. Many of you have been waiting for this one and asking what's taken so long. All I have to say is that I definitely did not put all of my eggs into the C9 basket after upper bracket finals thinking C9 would win the slot and then therefore immediately focus all of my analysis attention onto C9 instead of the other two teams, only to therefore immediately lose all of my progress in one fell swoop and Fly hit their game 5 backdoor. I repeat, I did not do that. Anyways, C9 is a team that has very strong early games, but then tend to make some key mistakes in mid-game, particularly around dragon setups, that tempt to lose them their advantages. FlyQuest is the team that most people outside of NA probably remember the most from this past year. They had an extremely disappointing result in MSI 2024, bowing out against the PCS team PSG Talon, but then bounced back at Worlds to have a shocking top 8 finish, taking Gen G to 5 games in quarterfinals. Due to that result, the expectations for Fly were incredibly high coming into Winter Split, where they underperformed by getting upset by 100 Thieves in the semifinals. Because of that, the order of strength among teams in spring were up in the air. At the start of the split, there was a perceived clear top 4 of Team Liquid, 100 Thieves, FlyQuest, and Cloud9. As the final weeks trickled in though, the 4 were trimmed down to 2, as it was only Fly and C9 who remained on top, and most people believed one of those two teams would make it to MSI. In fact, Fly were regarded as heavy favorites after easily dispatching C9 in 2 quick stomps in the final week of regular season. Upper bracket finals saw most analysts picking Fly to win over C9 convincingly, unless you're an idiot and would for some reason predict C9 to win anyway, and as expected, Fly would win this match and head to grand finals, where they would once again match up against C9. Now having won their last 2 matches against the org, one would have to be a fool to think that C9 was the better team and predict them to win, so it was an obvious foregone conclusion that Fly would be the team to represent the North. FlyQuest's roster has quite the interesting mix of players. Their top side features Blippo and Inspired, 2 talents from EU who have had their fair share of dominant splits in both regions. Their mid laner is Quad, a mechanically talented player who was given a few minimal chances in LCK here and there, but ultimately couldn't break into the league. And their bot duo is made up of 2 very young players who many in the region believe have the potential to be all-time NA greats in their roles. A look at this team's champion pool, especially in playoffs, will tell you that they dove headfirst into the meta of the season, not hesitating to try and master all of the best champions strategies on the patch, with minimal regard for personal champion pools. There are exceptions of course, but this team aggressively played what was strongest all year, which may be a factor in why they were able to break apart from the other 3 perceived top teams. Blippo is an extremely polarizing player and always has been. He's not shy when it comes to openly criticizing any and every player in the world, and he's also not shy about being direct about those criticisms.
What do you think of Merwin? Don't have an opinion. I'll have an opinion on him when we play. I can't have an opinion on someone I haven't played against. All I know is that his Nidalee is dog shit.
As such, many viewers of the region are very quick to put the magnifying glass on him, waiting for his own mistakes to come through. As a unique personality, he has an equally unique champion pool to match. One of the biggest positive qualities of Blippo is that he's always thinking outside of the box, ready to come up with anti-meta strategies to try and gain extra advantages in draft. He has plenty of uncommon picks such as Set, Mordekaiser, Vladimir, Volibear, and Shen that he's willing to pull out anytime he feels like it's the best in slot option. Unfortunately though, Blippo also has very inconsistent play. Out of everyone on the team, Blippo definitely makes the most amount of game-losing mistakes. That said, the reason for many of Blippo's ints are because of his tendency to want to min-max the most amount of advantages he can out of every situation. If he thinks he can get a slightly more beneficial trade in lane, he'll go for it with no hesitation, even if failing means throwing the entire lane phase away. He's also been playing with this confidence for years, meaning his mental is incredibly strong and he won't be swayed in stressful situations. When Blippo's squeezes go through, he can have very strong performances. Overall, I would say his confidence is a double-edged sword. While it does lead to him having some pretty bad rundowns, it's also that same confidence that gives his team draft advantages, leadership, and confidence in the big moment. Inspired has only been playing Tier 1 since 2019, but is already considered one of the greatest Western junglers of all time. While influence over the game has been somewhat minimal, and his trophy case is somewhat empty, he's been given a lot of credit for having very smart pathing and excellent mechanics. Much like Blippo, Inspired is a player who has a very clear idea of how he views the game in terms of what champions are strong or weak, and what decisions are correct or wrong. This leads to Inspired being overall a very consistent jungler. I say overall because he does have his moments where his performance can dip. Particularly at past internationals, people have criticized Inspired for playing worse than expected. He also missed out on Finals MVP this split due to poor performances in games 2 and 3, despite picking it back up in games 4 and 5. When it comes to who is the leader of this team, that role usually falls on Blippo and Inspired due to their veterancy. Something that impressed me a lot this split that I never really knew before was just how good Inspired's comms can be. Watching the clip of the comms for their Game 5 backdoor was super interesting, as Inspired essentially micromanaged everyone in the moment to make sure the attempt was successful.
Maybe Kalista ins, okay? She might get cocky.
I will contest.
I don't know if
Okay.
you guys should contest that. We can't end, we have double TP maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Just watch the base.
At least you
They
will
might
edge
forget.
them, at least you can edge them and we can maybe TP.
Okay,
But they took the
they're
ward, they
getting
took
the
the ward.
I can TP here. No, I mean, there's
I
a
think
tower
just double
though.
TP there, no? And you guys can E over the wall and flash, just TP already.
Yeah.
From
Yeah, I
base,
mean, I
they will
will,
not
okay.
see you.
Just try, fuck it.
And at least we'll edge them.
Okay.
Get me.
And you guys run, yes,
Yes,
just take this.
the
Okay.
The
HP
tower
of
is
the
1
tower is low, it's
HP.
1
Just
HP.
both take this
Okay,
and
okay.
go here.
Okay, okay.
And
Don't
at least,
hit any, don't hit that, don't hit that.
yeah, don't hit the plants, just go here.
I'm gonna hit this.
At least
getting
edge
info.
them.
They're all hitting it except
Okay,
Way.
at least we'll be able to stop
Wade's there
recalls.
too,
Just
Come,
go.
come, come, we flash over. We
Just
flash over.
At least we'll
Yeah.
stop the
Hit this
recalls.
and run.
Flash over, let's go. At least walk in, walk in.
Yeah.
Just go. But can we actually?
Yes,
Just
yes,
hit,
just
just
hit,
hit.
just hit.
I canceled all, I canceled all.
He
Yeah,
canceled
we're gonna end,
everyone.
we're gonna end. I'm hitting.
Hit. Fast.
We end.
I personally have high hopes for Inspired at this tournament. At last MSI, where he was criticized most, he had a near-retirement Jensen as his mid laner. Ever since Quad joined the roster, it's felt like the team has significantly stepped up their play, which allows Inspired to have more control over how he wants to play the game. I've been hyping up Quad for a long time now, as I've been following his career since back when he was named Solka and was only known as the best Cassiopeia in Korea. He's broken into the LCK on bottom tier teams before at the time, like DRX and Nongshim, but only got to play a few games at a time and never left any meaningful impression. Luckily, FlyQuest Challengers decided it was worth a shot to sign him, and he was immediately by far the best mid laner in the league, leading to his promotion on the main roster. In my opinion, Quad is the most stable mid laner in the LTA North. Sometimes, Quid can make bigger plays, or Loki can show flashes of a higher ceiling, but Quad has always consistently just been very good this entire time. Due to that consistency, I would say Quad is probably the best mid laner the LTA has to offer, and I think he'll hold up pretty well against most of the eastern mids. In terms of what to expect from him, he plays very much like the standard LCK mid laner would play like. Relatively controlled, meta champion pool, win through the enemy's mistakes type of player. Except for one thing. True to his roots, Quad will still play Cassiopeia as much as possible, and he's probably the best Cassiopeia player in the world. It might seem like a big reach considering his competitive results, but I do think there's a very real chance that Quad has been the best Cassio in the world for a good 4 or 5 years now, and he looks fantastic on it anytime it gets brought out on stage. Masu is one of 2 incredibly exciting young players on this team, and a rare example of the LCS Academy system doing its job properly. When he first joined the team at the start of 2024, I wasn't fully convinced that he would become anything special. As the year went on though, it was clear that I was dead wrong. He's been improving at an alarmingly fast rate, and is on track to become the best ADC in the region in just a few splits if he isn't already. Masu showed how high his potential was at Worlds 2024, where he, along with Busio, were the primary reason why Fly were able to take 2 games off Gen G in quarterfinals. If I had to describe why Masu has the ability to be so good, I would say that first and foremost he has good mechanics. NA isn't exactly known for producing players with good mechanics, so seeing Masu play is definitely a great change of pace. The other reason why I think he's so promising is that it feels like he's the type of player who wants to be able to think through all the decisions he's making. He does little things here and there that, while they might not always amount to an advantage, show that he's constantly trying to squeeze and come up with new ways to gain the edge. I also think the structure of the team helps him and Busio out a lot. You have a good mix of players on the team with veterancy and consistency, which is the best environment for newer players to grow. Hopefully, Worlds 2024 was the start of a trend, and I would love to see Masu step up and overperform again at this international. Busio was also a product of the LCS Academy system, but unlike Masu, I think he had it a little rougher. Unfortunately for Busio, he had to start his career at 100 Thieves, the org where all young player talents go to die. Tenacity, Kenvi, Instinct, Young, and Copy. This is a list of some of the players who have started out their careers on the 100 Thieves Academy system, looked promising at points, and then eventually fizzled out before getting a true shot at making it work in the LCS. Busio was honestly almost on track to join them, starting his tier 1 career on some not so great 100 Thieves teams who shot his stock down a lot. Luckily though, he was able to escape that org in 2024 spring and join FlyQuest, where he started showcasing the tremendous growth that people expected of him. Alongside Masu, the 2 were the biggest bright spots for FlyQuest at Worlds 2024, and gave a lot of NA fans hope for the future for the first time in a long time. As I mentioned in my intro for the team, FlyQuest as a unit love to try and play all of the strongest strategies in the meta. I've also mentioned in a lot of my past team breakdowns that this is one of the most diverse support metas we've ever seen, with a mix of melee and ranged champions who serve different purposes over the course of a game. Part of the reason why FlyQuest is able to play the meta so frequently is because Busio is one of the most flexible NA supports. He can play the lane dominant champions like Nico, Renata, and Elise, and he's also solid on all of the engage options too. FlyQuest as a team are one of the more promising rosters NA has ever sent to an international. The players on the team all seem focused on reaching their max potential, which is a trait that has been a bit lost to time in this region. That said, they have their fair share of weaknesses. In playoffs, FlyQuest got to match up against Cloud9 a total of 10 times. In those games, Fly lost the early game essentially every time, and had to claw their way back into their wins through their superior objective setups. Against top-level teams, falling behind early consistently is a recipe for disaster, especially when the enemy team is equally as good at, or better at, setting up those mid-game fights. I also think that in this tournament, Bwipo could potentially be a liability. He's had some very bad ints throughout the course of the year, which could be the one thing that needs to happen for Fly's mid-games to fall apart. In terms of their biggest strengths, I would look towards that aforementioned mid-game. In their 10 matchups against Cloud9 where they lost all of those early games, they were able to keep it competitive and end up winning 6 of them because their overall macro was just better. I could see this as being a very reliable way to be better than the rest of the field of non-elite teams. As such, I expect FlyQuest to be better than at least one of the LEC teams and finish in 5th, 6th place. I feel like there's a slight chance they could beat an out-of-form BLG or a really out-of-form T1, but that's about it. And in a double elimination format, beating one of those teams just once won't be enough to make meaningful progress in the tournament. With that, all of my team breakdowns are done. 10 out of 10 teams, 0 to go. As for the rest of this tournament, I have a few plans. I want to do my general MSI breakdown as always, of course, which will feature a rundown of how draft has been across the world, in addition to the usual stuff I put in those. After that, I'll be posting tier lists for the teams and players, so you all can get a grasp of my shitty opinions a bit better. I'm also debating doing some prediction videos prior to each major stage of the tournament, similar to what I did for MSI 2023. I have nothing else for you all. I'll see you all next time. Bye!